Middlekauff! Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, YouTube. It is Monday. This is YouTube only. If you are here on YouTube, we appreciate it. It's good to see everybody. We got some name suggestions.
That's a pretty good one.
That is a good one. Always delayed in the bay.
That's not bad.
What else you got? You are looking live at Habercraft at 3 p.m. on a Monday.
Not bad either.
The delayed pod? Sham pod?
Well, I'm a big believer is like I just don't think there are times on YouTube or the internet. They don't. That's not how the internet works, right? You can say 3:30. It's just like it lives forever. This isn't, Friday in 2002 when the show came on Channel 13 on CBS. You had to watch it or you weren't going to see it. Like this, you can watch it later. Say you're coming on 3. Hell, might come on 6. Might come on noon. Who knows?
Speaking of watching, I saw Jimbo did another interview. He did a local news interview, and it is. I just watched it like right before we got on here. It's like 4 minutes. Local news sports guy, here on AR Sports with it's TV, and Jimbo is so combative. He just keeps saying, well, you all believed it, so what does that say about you in the media? Huh? How about your research? And the guy's like, well, Nick believed it too. And he's like, well, I'm not talking about Nick. What about the media? What about you? Because Jimbo's like, we have 11 guys. Only one of them has an NIL deal. And the guy's like, what? He's like, we have 11 early enrollees. Only one of them has an NIL deal. So how is it that we bought them all if only one of them has an NIL deal?
Was that a bold-faced lie?
I don't know. That's what he said. He checked with compliance. We have 11 early enrollees. Only one of them has an NIL deal. So that's what they're reporting. And his like PR person you could hear him in the background, like giving him words to say and like trying to interrupt the interview and like cut it off. And finally Jimbo's like, I got it. All right. I can handle it.
I saw a headline today that Greg Sankey, he's the commissioner still, right? The SEC.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin was supposed to go on Dan, I think either like Thursday or Friday, and he scrapped it. Sankey called Ole Miss.
Sankey called it off.
He is not allowed to go because, he was just going to throw kerosene all over them both.
Which is like, if you're Lane, you're like, hold on, hey, I got my tactics over here. Yeah. Leave me alone.
I do
with those guys.
I do think for the SEC, and I think Nick even understood, like it was starting to get it felt a little pro sportsy and a little over the top that I understand because those two guys are so famous and Lane's fame, it just make it way worse. And to me, as someone who thinks it's very disingenuous forever, how the way the media has always talked about how guys have never been getting paid when they were always getting paid, especially college basketball and Jay Billis's of the world. And listen, I like Jay, but they always acted like, no, they're getting 6 figures and college football a little less, but it's clear guys are getting paid now, but you can tell these coaches are still a little uncomfortable with talking about it. But then they've jumped the shark on this argument, and now like even Nick backed up immediately and apologized, but Jimbo keeps doubling down. They were just in a weird spot. I get why you'd want to like just stop it, even though it's like what? Because I got a couple DMs like, why is Jimbo so offended when everything's legal now?
Because everything's not legal.
No, but he said you bought the players, right? You bought them with real money.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not like Jimbo Fisher is not allowed to do NIL deals with players, right?
No, but Texas A&M is.
Yeah, but even it gets hairy where like University of Florida, one of their deals with their collective early on was like, somebody in their collective, Darren Heitner, that lawyer who's on the internet a lot, he said, my advice to University of Florida is that we don't give NIL deals to any high school kids or any kids that are in the portal at other schools. We only give NIL deals to our own kids. Because the NCAA, somebody is going to try and enforce this idea of NIL deals are not supposed to coerce you to come to a particular school.
Yeah, and that's where I think that the schools, I think the NCAA big picture is in some trouble because clearly the Supreme Court pushed back against like even all that. And if you told me in the next 5 years the NCAA doesn't have the juice or in control anymore, I'd believe you because now this has broken the dam of you should be allowed to pay to play, and that's kind of what they allowed them to do. Now the NCAA tried to like keep their control, but you can tell like it's trending much harder in the other way.
Yeah,
I think the
the
NCAA
end
is in
game
major
there.
trouble.
Well, the NCAA is just schools, you know.
No, I'm talking about though, like Emirates being able to, whoever's in charge, a lot of these arbitrary rules. Like I think their time in the sun is kind of coming to a slow burn.
Slow.
Well, but I'm saying like it's gonna.
over.
But still, like they could pop someone right now and you get in trouble, right?
Yeah, but ultimately somebody is still going to enforce rules. It just might be, like some athletics directors have suggested that like football just goes off on its own and just does its own enforcement, does its own thing.
Yeah, that's
but
what
still
I'm saying.
Somebody's going to be in, like somebody will be in, right? Like they'll have a new commissioner for that. And
I guess what I'm saying is someone's going to get in trouble for NIL over the next, let's say 12, let's just pick 12 months. Like legitimately, like you broke all the rules,
right.
And they're going to say, fuck you. And I bet they're going to go to the court, and that could be the end of the NCAA. Because that's going to happen, right? Because they're going to try to flex their muscles and show they're still in charge. And clearly it's the Wild Wild West, shady stuff's going on. But I feel whoever gets in trouble is not going to take it, especially if it's a big boy.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be Miami. Probably because they don't have a lot of ability to get a lot of information, right? But Miami's guy's been pretty public, John Ruiz. So maybe they would try with them first.
Who's Ruiz? Is he the AD?
He's no. He's the money guy that's running all of Miami's. Like made the basketball player come back to school. Life wallet.
Yeah. I got you. Got you. Yeah.
Did you say Nevin?
Well, remember Nevin Shapiro?
Nevin Shapiro, yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Paying everyone.
Yeah.
Do you agree though that for a long time, a lot of people that cover college sports got very on their high horse about no one getting paid when people were getting paid? Billis, the Rod Gilmores, like those types, they never shut up about guys getting screwed when like guys were not getting screwed. A lot of money was changing hands.
I think one thing that quote unquote free market has made clear is like the numbers of what guys are worth relative to what the pool of money is probably higher, right?
I would say, though, at first in any market, it goes crazy, and then it comes to a scratching. Not scratching. It won't come to a scratching halt, but I think it's going to come back to earth. Like I just don't think $3-4 million are going to get handed out at the rate they're being handed out probably right now.
To guys who haven't succeeded or played, right?
The transfer guys, I mean, the Jordan Addisons, the Calebs, they're going to have value, right?
Yeah, and some of the major recruits are going to have value. They always have.
That's my point. Like Clowney's, Julio's, to Zion's. I mean, they've been getting massive bags of cash well before any of this was legal.
Yeah. Excuse me. OTAs are tomorrow. Woo! And we're gonna go down there. We're gonna be there, catching some rays. It's gonna be could be a little warm. Could be
a little later. I mean, it's 12 o'clock. The traffic
12:20, 12:30.
Wouldn't have minded like 11:10 start time, but
because then Kyle Shanahan's going to talk at 2 o'clock, and we'll probably stay for that, and then head back to the studios, which will put us back at around. I mean, I don't know what time we'll be on Tuesday. Might be.
Well, I mean, historically, the San Jose traffic's really bad. 6
p.m.
Did you say 6?
I said 6. Well, Kyle talks at 2. Done at what time?
2:20.
2:20. Hop in the car. Back home by 4. Grab a bite maybe. So yeah, dinner maybe back by 4:30. No, I hadn't really done the math.
I was thinking like
you were building it up for all this traffic, so I thought you were going to get cars.
I mean, I don't. It's the Bay Area. It can be hit or. It's not pre-Corona. It was a lock. It would be a little while, but I don't know if it's quite the same now. But we're gonna find out tomorrow.
But you're right. I mean, we're not waiting until
3:30.
Yeah. You
think record the podcast?
3:30? I don't think we'll be back by 3:30, or maybe it'll be right around 3:30. Could be.
Yeah, 3:34.
It's about an hour it's about 50 minutes drive without traffic, or with just normal traffic.
Yeah.
4. So, yeah, it could be around 4.
No later than 4.
3:30 seems kind of tight to me, but
I feel like we've done it before at 3:30. Maybe it was a little earlier practice, but I don't know. We'll be on when we're on, I'd say.
But I think that's probably around the right window.
Yeah, Warriors play at 6.
Yes, we got to be on by like 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're overstating how it's not that. It's not going to take like 3 hours to get home.
Well, no, I thought it was 50 minutes. Then you started building up to me how bad traffic was going to be.
Why I hyped it up is what it used to be. I think it's slowed down, but I haven't made the drive in 2 years. I guess we went down last year, but I feel like the practices were a little earlier. Don't you? I feel this 12 is a little later than usual.
Yeah, I do think they were earlier.
I'm not saying 10, but it felt like 11:20 was on the field. That hour's a big difference. Kyle trying to squeeze in some extra meetings, a little sleep in time. Not sure what he's looking for.
He's got an early 9.
I mean, well, if you had an early 9, you'd start practice like 9, so you could be out of there by like noon.
No, I meant like morning 9, not afternoon 9.
Yeah, see, these football coaches are weird. They love like working in the morning.
Jimmy G equals professional. Jimbo, less than professional. It's a good use of symbols, Scammon.
Always throws me off, those little greater than, less than's.
All right, what are we looking for? This is previewing our Tuesday trip to Santa Clara for 40. I was thinking Kyle Shanahan doesn't typically do anything for any other reason than it's what he wants to do and what he thinks is the right thing to do. But if this were a game, like if we were getting ready to watch Trey Lance's first season opener as the 49ers quarterback, we'd be talking about how, the first series is just going to be get him some easy throws, get him some completions, get his confidence going, get him comfortable, get him used to the crowd, string a couple drives together, pick up some easy first downs. Like that's how we'd talk about his first game. I wonder if Kyle has any thought about that with his first practice that's open. Like, let's just, get him out there, have him hit a few throws, get the offense moving. Just doesn't want to have to get back to his DMs on Tuesday night. And people are talking about he was 58% completion in the first public OTA, that type of thing. I don't know. Doesn't feel like Kyle's style to me, but.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, he's going to have a scripted plays. I guess you just start at the basics, but this is kind of a unique situation. Do you kind of want to throw like it'd be midseason because this is not a new player, right? He's been there for a year. All the other guys he's going to rep with, assuming like Kittle, the use checks, the Ayuks, even if Debo's not there, Juwan Jennings, you could throw any play that you ran last year. They would know it. So you might just want to see like they've been together for the last month doing shit, right? Leading up meetings. I think you could be pretty aggressive off the bat. Again, not throwing like
you're saying it's unlikely that there's too much stuff that Trey doesn't know at this point, that he should know everything.
Well, he should know everything. We're going to find out. Like, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time that he's really all these reps are his with the first team. Like that's different, right?
You got a couple last year, right?
Got a couple, but not all of them.
Yeah, but in training, training camp when the pads come on, it's probably a little different than this. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just fascinated to watch the whole thing. I don't know what to. I mean, their plays are their plays, right? I mean,
yes, but some of them are higher percentage plays than others.
Yeah,
right?
I would be shocked if he's just having them check down the whole time.
I would also be shocked.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go pretty fucking full speed, let it rip.
But it's not
you got 3 weeks.
It's not just about easy. It's just about my ultimate point is, does Kyle Shanahan think about how I want Trey Lance to look publicly?
No,
and how I want Trey Lance to feel when he is performing publicly. That is because that is when you talk about a game part of. It's a different thought process that gets you to the same result, which is let's help this guy have some success immediately.
Yeah, I don't think he gives a shit what anyone's.
I don't think he does either. Sideline. No, that's why I set it up. It's not his style.
And honestly, he shouldn't, because like Trey's got to be tougher than like one thing Jimmy had is like at any moment Jimmy could throw 3 picks and everyone was gunning for it. Like part of being a quarterback is you're gonna fuck up and people are gonna be talking smack, right? That you suck. It's part of the life in the league.
Kyle dialed up a bomb on Lance's second preseason throw as a rookie. I don't know if he's trying to ease him in. LOL, says Crocky. Yeah, or you could argue that's him trying to make him look good. Like, look at what this guy's got that the other guy doesn't. Right? I mean, that can be in that category too. I think doesn't necessarily have to be easy so much as a wow play that
Now, ultimately, it's just
no one's thinking about your completion percentage if you go viral.
Yeah, to me, this OTAs, I mean, it's just he's gonna look good. He's got a big arm. He looks big. I mean, Trey Lance is the type guy that looks good in t-shirt and shorts. If he doesn't, we got problems because we went last year and he looked sweet. Like he's gonna stand out in these situations, especially relative to the other quarterbacks, right? Sudfeld and Purdy, and I guess Jimmy's not even there, so it's just those three. I mean, it's not John Elway's back there relative to him. He's going to look dramatically better than the other guys physically. So I'll be stunned unless balls are flying all over the map, which to me, I guess the accuracy thing, but like he's going to be fine. In terms of like people are like, oh, he looked physically great. Well, yeah, he does. I mean, that's part of the reason he got drafted really high. But like you went to an OTAs of Mac Jones would look bad. I remember when the Eagles practice joint did last year with Mac Jones, we're like, God, this guy physically doesn't have much. But you give Mac in a game, like he can run the game. That's the hard part about this period of time for like Kyle. It's like, how much you really gaining? Unless he like clearly goes out there and doesn't know what he's doing. But we've already seen him. Like he does kind of know what he's doing. He knew what he kind of, he could function as a rookie that was fresh out of North Dakota State. Year later, knowing the playbook, like I expect it to be good. But I don't know necessarily that means that much. I guess is my point. If it's not good, I would say there's a red.
I mean it which is kind of that's the situation that all these guys are in. If it doesn't look good, then it matters. If you look good, then nobody cares.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say nobody cares. That's not accurate. But the things that matter are not necessarily easy to tell. Right, like watching the practice, Kyle knows and his teammates know exactly what he's supposed to do on a particular play. We don't always necessarily know. He rolled out, made a sweet throw. Yeah, but the first read is what you were supposed to do there, which should never got to that rollout and that sweet throw. Right, that's something that we just can't.
Yeah,
you can't really see that.
And who knows? I mean, there is a chance that like Kittle's not there. Trent Williams, I doubt's there. Debo will not be there. He could just be out there with Juwan Jennings.
Danny Gray.
I would say Ayuk would be there. Do you think he'd put Danny Gray in with the ones right away? Feels a little bold. But I don't know who else is going to be. It'll be interesting to see who else out there. I saw Elijah Mitchell's definitely the starting running back.
Not the Ray McLeod.
The running backs, I don't know how much matter in these situations.
Ray.
But do you think he's an immediate starter?
Well, but you asked who would be out there ahead of Danny Gray. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, he'd
after Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk. Who, you know what I mean? Like, who's Tay Martin? Had a nice year last year at Oklahoma State.
Oh, I thought you were going to say last year on the 49ers. I was like, I don't remember that guy.
No, Tay Martin. I just know him because he was at Washington State first, but then he went to Oklahoma State. He caught a bunch of balls last year.
Drafted him?
Well, undrafted.
See, I mean, there are going to be guys like that because you're not going to have Brandon Ayuk do everything, right? So, I mean, you're going to end up throwing to these guys, especially if George. I guess I'll be a little shocked if George isn't there, just because George likes to work, but he never shuts up about this tight end university, so maybe he's already getting it ready.
I mean, the way he was talking to
Mahomes,
McAfee the other day.
He's trying to get Josh Allen to come, Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's inviting everybody. I don't know. Ultimately, like, listen, I'm excited to go because it's cool football. But once you're there, it's kind of boring immediately. Beside Trey, like to me, he's the only interesting part. I mean, Danny Gray catches some balls.
I think Danny Gray interests me.
Yeah, I mean, but he's gonna look. He can run. I mean, he's probably make some sweet plays. But guys like that all over the NFL will make plays in these situations. Again, it's all you can go off is this stuff. But like,
he's got a catch too. I'm not being
when the ball hits when it hits him in the hands.
Yeah, he's got to catch him.
I would imagine Kyle's a little old school. Like some of those guys could be running with Sudfeld. It's like, which kind of sucks. I'm a little interested in seeing just Purdy's arm. Like, is it really bad in person? Because I do think the backup quarterback. I know they gave the Sudfeld $2 million, but Kyle's weird as quarterbacks, man. If this guy's just like a genius, knows everything, and like runs his offense, Kyle will like make him the backup quarterback. Kyle love. I mean, CJ and Mullins, like that's just his type. This guy is his type of guy.
Well, and there's the possibility that the backup quarterback has been an important figure in Kyle Shanahan's 49er tenure so far.
For sure. I mean, the guy's play. I mean, Trey Lance got hurt last year.
Yeah.
I would say one guy I'm kind of interested in seeing, just see him move around a little bit, would be the dude they signed, Ward from the Chiefs. I mean, they gave him a lot of money to be a starting quarterback. I mean, he's thinking of free agency, like he's an immediate starter, right? There's no like, well, we'll just see what he's got. No, like that's one of your starting corners. Who's the other starting corner? Is it Ambry Thomas? I would guess. Yeah.
But
not that matters that much right now. Like to me, those guys beside Ward, I would say Ward is the only 100% lock to be a starting corner, right? The other guys are battling for playing, to be the true starter. But most teams you play now start with 3 wide receivers, so it's like you have 3 corners on the field.
So your nickel matters,
which they don't really. I guess Jimmy Ward is kind of this hybrid. He could do it, but like they ideally rather have a corner do it.
That's the other thing. Like they drafted 2 cornerbacks last year. They drafted a couple cornerbacks this year, right? Like they just have had a crop of guys that you would like to get two at least minimum contributors out of that group, which historically they've had a pretty good track record doing. Like they've gotten later round contributors. So is this the end? Like, are we just pretty quickly to the end of the road for Diamador Lenore? Does he show some promise? Can he contribute? Is one of these Samuel Womack, Tariq Castro Fields, their 5th and 6th rounders? Like, is one of those guys just in line to be able to be some version, obviously positionally different, but ready to give you some version of Talanoa Hufunga's contributions if you need them, right? Like, not at that spot, but
it is the time of year when guys like that can be in position once training camp starts to get some reps with the better players. You do have to, like, being a random guy. Like, ultimately, Danny Gray is going to end up getting reps with good players because he was drafted relatively high. But every single year, all over training camps, in OTAs, a guy like, damn, who's this Matt Breida? Right? You start making some plays in OTAs, you get on the map that when you go to training camp, you just have that built in. That's what I'm saying about Purdy. What if he's just, I was like, God, I like this guy. I just feels like if you told me one guy he's going to like, beside like to me, he's going to like Danny Gray. Like Kyle clearly liked him coming out. I'm talking about a guy that like 5th, 6th, 7th, undrafted free agent, a practice squad guy. I could just see Purdy all of a sudden like, is this guy running with the 2s in August 5th?
He's picking it up quick.
And then Jimmy returns. Not so fast.
I got this kid. Emmanuel Mosley.
But he's been a long-time starter, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are going to be a lot of no-shows. Like, I don't expect Bosa to be there. I don't expect Trent Williams to be there. Alex Mack, I'm not expecting him to be there.
So who plays center?
You'll have some random...
Who plays guard?
Young guy. Aaron Banks should be starting. Pretty as heart. He does. Kyle likes Hart in his backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's
Robbie Gold, no chance he's there.
He's golfing.
Hard to blame him.
Danny Gray, the Marquise Goodwin role. I see that's where one thing is like, does Danny Gray get reps in spots that you're surprised to see him? And maybe that's not for tomorrow. Maybe that's for 2 weeks from now. Does he find his way into a position?
Well, Debo not being there means those other guys,
opportunity.
There are going to be people filling the spots.
Like if you're one of those guys, what are you thinking?
My time to shine.
Yeah. No block, no rock.
Yeah, I mean, Debo, you keep hugging Steph Curry, I'll be here with Kyle.
Draymond.
You see Debo in the locker room after with Steph Curry? Or like the under tunnel?
No.
They were like hugging.
Is there video or a photo of that?
Video. But Debo didn't have Draymond's sweaty jersey in his hand. Maybe he gave it to his buddy.
Maybe Draymond didn't actually give it to him. He just took it off.
Maybe he did. Maybe he's just sweaty. He wants that thing off him. Yeah. Think Greg Pop is there, manning the sidelines? Because he's on the air.
I wonder if he'd be on the air from there. I don't know if he's on. But yeah, I mean, it's it's Trey Lance's first OTAs as the 49ers starting quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if this had been, it was a big deal last year and he was not the starting quarterback. So, obviously Jimmy is some version of a safety net until they trade him, but he's not really a big picture safety net. There is no safety net. They are on a high wire without a net. They traded 3 ones for a quarterback. Like it's the time is now.
Well, to me, he is the Trey Lance story is just as of tomorrow on the field, because ultimately Debo's not there. Like they're gonna reiterate the same shit about Debo. Like that is a massive story too. Like, are we gonna fix this problem here? But as of tomorrow, like actual tangible on the field, there ain't even a second. What's the second biggest story? It's a mile away, right? Trey Lance is going to be the thing. It's going to go viral tomorrow on the internet, just talking about his performance and how he looks. And I would imagine all around the league, people are on the field doing things throughout the week. Not everyone probably has it open on Tuesday, but Tua's all those type guys, right? How Patrick Mahomes and Sky Moore, you see Kyler Murray's not showing up, but I would say Trey is easily going to be one of the bigger, like Trey Lance looking really good, or it's like, Trey Lance actually is looking pretty bad.
Do you remember, did he throw the ball in OTAs last year with the same lack of like a consistent tight spiral the way he did in games?
I don't really remember. No.
I don't either.
I thought at training camp it was a little squirrely.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's hard. I think anything mechanical, I think is probably a little challenging if you're not facing game speed. I think it's probably a little easier to be, if you've changed something mechanically sound, if you're not going at full speed. But, the real test for that is a game when you're really getting sped up.
Yeah.
But, that whole conversation about his throwing mechanics and his motion, be interesting to see if he looks any different from that standpoint.
I would doubt it. I'm not expecting it, I guess. I'm expecting him to have the same elongated motion. Yeah. I'll be floored and impressed if it's like, oh, Jesus. That'd be a pretty impressive turnaround, right?
It'd be really impressive. I think it's really hard. And I think we go back to what Shanahan always says, which is he has a much greater emphasis on footwork than he does on the path of his arm.
Yeah.
And the quickness of decision makings. Guy's been saying this about Trey, but the most exciting thing is that it's hard to see him failing in this offense and this team. Guy has been saying this about Trey, but maybe that goes back to maybe what you mean last year when I said I thought he'd be the offensive rookie of the year if he started every game, which obviously he didn't. So he wasn't.
And he wouldn't have been because Jamar Chase. It would have been a rocky road.
What happens a lot, we talked about this with the defensive rookies. Is the offensive rookie of the year historically this way? Where like the offensive rookie of the year turns out to be one of the best players in the league? In baseball, the rookie of the year is not usually, may not be an all-star. In football, the rookie of the year is usually just an all-pro, like a Pro Bowl type.
Well, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, I would imagine are the last two.
Right.
2019, it was Kyler Murray.
Saquon, Kamara.
Yes.
Dak.
He did start every game, though, and was, the starting quarterback on the playoff Dallas Cowboys. Right. So they were starting quarterback, Dallas Cowboys, made the playoffs, hosted the Green Bay Packers in the second round.
Trey has to go up against the AFC West Struggle City. 245-pound Justin Herbert. I looked. Donovan was listed at 240. Donovan McNabb, who was a big man, but not close to as tall as Justin.
6'2".
Herbert's legitimate. I've stood by him. He's a legitimate 6'6". I mean, he is 6'6". He is humongous. He is so big. And he's 245 pounds, he says.
What was McNabb's weight?
240.
but he played power forward in the ACC. Think about that.
At 6'2".
He was like Charles Barkley. Maybe he was a small forward, but I don't think he was like a wing, right? It feels like McNabb was banging, doesn't it? Didn't McNabb play college basketball?
He played at Syracuse. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was,
I don't know. I don't know. Did he play his whole career there?
No. But he was like that level of an athlete, right? I mean, he was. Donovan McNabb's an all-time number 2 overall pick. Like, he's a freak show.
Yeah.
Herbert, clearly all-time freak show. To me, Herbert and Allen, someone tweeted at me after I just posted, because Herbert said it. I think one of the reporters were like, God, you're looking big or something. You're looking jacked. And he's like, yeah, he tried to give credit to the strength guy. And then the guy asked him, how much do you weigh? Herbert just slightly at 245. Like, someone tweeted at me, like, I don't think people quite realize him and Josh Allen, how enormous these humans are. I would say Josh probably not 245, but he's probably 235. And they're both every bit of 6'5.5", 6'6". They are the Eli, Peyton, Phillip Rivers, but with fucking wheels. Can you imagine if you're like, oh yeah, Eli and Phillip Rivers ran a 4.6. Just think about those players if they could move. That's those guys, but they can move.
I mean, Nick Bosa, right, is used to being. What is he used to being? How much heavier than the guy he's chasing? 50 pounds at least heavier, probably, but probably more athletic, but 50 pounds heavier. Yeah. But more athletic than right? I mean, you'd say if Nick's 265, then most quarterbacks are
what's Kyler? 210? Yeah.
But Kyler's probably on the light side, right?
Yeah, Russell's probably 220. Yeah, I mean, he's got him by several 30, 40, 50 pounds.
Yeah, you're right, though. It's the athleticism, because Carson Palmer was probably 240, right?
It feels like Stafford's probably 225, 230. He's thick.
Yeah, he doesn't.
But he's a blue chipper. I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick from Georgia. But
Carson,
even
235.
Carson Palmer is a massive, massive man. But Carson Palmer, like Rivers and like Peyton, could not move, guy. These guys can take off. And clearly, Josh runs more than Herbert. But when those guys run to their left or right behind the line of scrimmage and Nick Bosa can catch them and then they can throw it 60 yards, that was the other thing. Rivers and Peyton, even if they ran, they wouldn't have been able to get the velocity behind it, right? They didn't have huge arms. These guys have howitzers, and they're enormous, and they can move. I don't know. I think Justin Herbert might win the MVP this year. I'm not trying to overreact to him just saying he weighs 245 pounds, but his body language, he looks happy.
I mean, he's got to be one of the top 4 favorites, right? Well, I mean, Trey Lance listed at 224. If he still is 224, which he might be, like, I don't see any reason why, from a body type standpoint, he couldn't get to 235 if he wanted to.
Herbert's way older, right? 5th-year senior, 3rd year. I mean, I guess way older.
No, 4-year senior. So what's this? His coming into his third year in the league.
He's actually just turned 24. He's not as old as I thought. So he's 2 years older than Trey.
He's only 2 years older than Trey? He's 6 years out of high school. Oh, yeah, I guess Trey was. Yeah, you're right.
Because
Trey just turned. Wasn't his birthday like just now?
So my point is, Herbert 3 years ago out of college.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
He weighed 236 pounds at the combine. So ultimately, he's just put on like 10 pounds of muscle over 2 years. It's not like he's gone from 215 to 245. It's really not as big.
He was not skinny when he came out.
No, I bet he just looks dramatically like filled out and concrete.
Well, it's something when somebody says to you, "Hey, man, you get bigger." You know what I mean? It must have been pretty obvious. Like, watching the video, it wasn't obvious to me, but to those guys standing in front of him, it must have been obvious.
He looked completely normal to me.
Also, someone could have said something to him like, "Hey, man, you notice he looks good." Like,
no man has spent more time on the West Coast, especially now that lives in LA, and struggles to get a tan quite like Justin Herbert. He's always very pale.
Who loves golf, by the way. He golfs.
He's and very pale.
He's like an outdoorsman.
The white, whenever he's wearing his white shirt, he's
grew
always
up in Eugene, man. It's just cloudy all the time, you know?
I know, but how much time's he spending up there?
I don't know. It's just, maybe that's just his that's what he's adjusted to now.
Did you tell me, or someone told me, that like he makes a drive sometimes? Like, drive
from Eugene to LA? I didn't tell you that. No.
Yeah, someone told me, like, it's just who he is. You know, he's not like Maybe, I mean, the PJ will probably be coming once he signs that $180 million contract coming up. But, well, you know,
He
Dean
just
might
wants the alone time.
Dean might hold out.
Dean's going to be borrowing Justin's plane.
Probably.
So Trey turned 22 on May 9th.
So they're two years apart because he's March 10th. So 2 years, 2 months.
And he just turned 24.
Feels like I thought Herbert was like 26. He's younger than I thought. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe
how old do you
confuse it.
think Josh Allen is?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be 2 years older than Justin.
You just turned 26. Mahomes will be 27 this year. So Herbert's on the young end of all these guys. Lamar is
Probably Herbert's age.
yeah, he's a year old. He turned 25 in January. So I mean, listen, I'd fucking die to be 25 again.
Did you see the Orioles called up their first round pick from a few years ago, Adley Rutschman, who was the number 1 pick out of Oregon State in 2019, the same draft that Andrew Vaughn from Cal went to the White Sox. And somebody tweeted, it was like all this, like, it was like 2 days ago. So it was all this, like, Adley Rutschman got called up. And someone tweeted, Juan Soto's going to be so good when he reaches Adley Rutschman's age because he's younger than him, even though Adley Rutschman was like big leagues fast 2019 draft. Like, bam, he's here. He's like 24. Big league debut.
Because he played college baseball, right?
And yeah, and just baseball, unlike football, you don't just get to come up. Like, if you come up in 3 years, you did it fast, you know?
So Andrew Vaughn basically just skipped the line.
But Justin didn't skip the line. He was a 4-year college player, but he just got so good immediate. It was. I would say he was one of the clearly had some physical attributes. He had the ability to work. I don't remember anyone like immediately like, holy shit. I could remember Richard Sherman tweeted like, is everyone watching this guy? Especially when he wasn't supposed. It'd be one thing if it was
Sherman tweeted like during the season?
Yeah, it was Richard Sherman. It'd be one thing if it was all of camp was leading up to like, oh my God, the reports on Herbert, but he was just, Justin had to play today because they got the needle poked Tyrod wrong. Here we go. And then he just goes toe-to-toe with Mahomes. They didn't play the Texans either. He played Mahomes out the gate and almost beat him.
But then it was just like, remember the way their schedule was like, they're playing Brady right now, and they both like threw for combined 10 touchdowns. Like, who is this guy? And then people started nitpicking Oregon. It's like, well, he didn't have any wide receivers. They had the worst running backs in the history of the program. He was doing it all himself. And now you kind of look back and you go, he kind of was. Like, it was a very, for when we were at, Fresno guys in our college years, watching that Oregon team, they were always loaded at the skill positions and great running backs. It was very quarterback friendly. Justin, his time, hell, even kind of last year, watching like under Mario's time, he recruited all these other sweet players. Where are their Justin Jeffersons and like Saquon Barkley's? Because I would say when I remember going to games when Kenny was playing, it was like, who's the dude that played for Stewart? That played for the Panthers.
Jonathan.
Yeah, it was like, but that guy was a backup running back. I remember one year because they had another dude. They were just like, Jesus Christ. And then when I was scouting Chip, they weren't quite Jonathan Stewart, but I mean, LaMichael was pretty damn good in college, if I remember. DeAnthony Thomas and like Justin didn't have any of those guys.
No, he didn't have those guys.
Mariota played with a lot of dudes too.
Yeah, but I've said this for a couple of years. The thing with Oregon that's crazy to me is they've never produced at like prototype NFL receivers. If you go look at Oregon's like top 10 receiving list, there's a few pros on it, but
it's tight ends and running backs. They produced a lot of NFL tight ends because they were, I think, under Bellotti and even under Chip, they were a run first operation.
Who are the tight ends?
Well, I'm just saying they've had, like guys like George Reister drafted in the 3rd round, Justin Peele drafted they've just had a lot of guys over the years, not become like Tony Gonzalez, but like they were producing NFL tight ends like every other year. And then obviously they've had 2 decades worth of running backs.
Yeah, part of it was their system was just set up to just
run the ball down your throat.
Yeah, or let's get this guy outside and he'll just DeAnthony Thomas will. But what I would love to.
And I bet if you look back at Bellotti's tenure. Like think of like Jeff Schwartz, like the linemen they had, a lot of linemen and
they've
power running backs.
They've produced.
I think they were shoving it down people's throat physically.
But usually those teams have a physical receiver too, and they've just never really had a big time physical receiver. Hopefully they get there though.
Well, Dan Lanning, all I ever heard, is the greatest recruiter ever.
I thought Mario was the greatest recruiter ever.
Sometimes I look at Dan Lanning, I go, this guy looks like 26 years old.
I know.
Doesn't he look young?
Yeah. Well, how old is he actually? 36?
Like our age. But I mean, he looks like, you see some pictures when he's just around other older people.
Yeah.
He looks fucking young, guy.
I know.
Which is cool, but
so
I mean, there was a picture, he tweeted it out of like, he was at Bilotti's foundation. And obviously, Mike has he's all gray and the gray goatee. And he was just sitting next to Lanning. And I've always, for some reason in my head, thought like Bilotti was kind of a younger, older guy. And it was like, he looks like Lanning's grandpa. Now, he would look old no matter what, but Lanning has like the chop beard, right? Is that his look?
Yeah, like the
chops, kind of thin beard. He doesn't have like a thick beard. It's like thin.
No, it's like, it's not a thick. You saying he's got the little chin strap?
That chin strap, but closer to chin strap than like a mountain man beard.
Yeah, not mountain man beard. He's got the thing that you just kind of shave it under the neck a little bit along the neckline. And it's a little longer than that. Yeah. I just think it's not very full. Like, I don't think he doesn't shave it down like the chin strap. I just think it doesn't grow in very much up on the cheek. So Big Papa says, camp question, how does Javon Kinlaw look? Well,
hope he's erect.
I don't, you love saying that. I don't, I'm not going to watch him and go like, oh man, he would have had 7 TFLs today. But that's actually a good example of a guy who multiple times we went to a practice and saw Javon Kinlaw off kind of on its own. It felt like there was one practice where he kind of lost it and had to be just kind of sent to the side. So just being a every down, like part of the rotation participant, being healthy enough, first of all, and just being part of it. Nothing weird happening, maybe is the way to say it. Because I remember a couple times last year, just something weird happened with him while we were there. So that'd be on the list.
Yeah, if he's healthy, he should be the starting defensive tackle, right? He should be there. Him and Armstead should be the two guys in the middle. So we'll just see if he's.
Would you agree with that? That a couple times last year it was just weird.
Yeah, listen, I kind of like my defensive linemen to be fucking nut jobs. My issue was not like him snapping and getting crazy. It was more like I never once thought he was going to be around.
No, but my issue wasn't that
I just think people get
that that's not my issue. My issue was that it was something would happen that he would just be on the sideline for the rest of practice. Now maybe he was hurt.
Yeah, it might have just been pain in his knee. He was freaking out.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying like that. There were times where it was just something weird was happening. That's all.
Yeah. I guess my ultimate point, like, I don't mind weird stuff happening with my D lineman. Part of like his problem was you just thought that he wasn't even going to be around. Right? Like, is this guy even going to play?
I don't mind if he's yelling at people, if he's repping, but if something happens and he's just on the sideline, I guess we should just assume it's physical if he's on the sideline.
Yeah. To me, if he's just on the sideline, that'd be a problem.
Now, maybe he's on a pitch count to start OTAs. I mean, this time last year? It was like, his knee was swelling. It's like, no, there's no swelling. Fake news. No swelling. His knee.
Well, he did have microfracture ACL. Like, he had a pretty major knee surgery. Kyle says he's been working out outside. We're going to find out.
So, yeah, it was a problem.
I don't mind a little OTA fight. Snap. I wouldn't mind Drake Jackson kind of getting a little scrap.
Oh yeah, Drake and who would he fight? Who you want to Drake and McGlinchey?
I wouldn't mind him and McGlinchey because to me Drake Jackson's my starting defensive end with Bosa out. Do you think Bosa's going to be there tomorrow?
No, aren't we going to get the Bosa's in Florida with his brother doing their thing?
Yeah, so I mean, I would imagine Drake Jackson's one of the starting defensive ends, like him and Hyder. I can see Drake Jackson, McGlinchey. Like, I can see Drake kind of coming. Drake's kind of like feeling himself.
Do a little backflip, a little celebration.
I wouldn't mind a little OTA, a little scrap between those two.
Yeah.
I don't think I would mind it. I don't think Kasurik would mind it. Let's get after it.
It's a little early for that, you think? A little early? Usually it's like, it's been here 2 weeks. It's hot out. The guys just tired of hitting each other.
yeah, I'd say it's never too early to get a little scrap.
A little QB Shanahan. We'll probably see some of that tomorrow with only 3 quarterbacks on the roster. That's usually a trademark of Niners OTAs or just general practices. So
I saw the Giants GM was throwing a practice. I just think you don't have that many bodies. You got a lot of people out there.
the Giants general manager was throwing a practice. God, I
Joe Shane, yeah.
wish Gettleman had done that.
I don't know if Gettleman is completing many passes.
The Niners should bring out like JT O'Sullivan to be like a camp arm,
I think there are rules
about who's allowed to do it. No,
Yeah, and
YouTubers.
even with coaches and stuff, because I remember my first year of Philly, Matt Nagy was like the quality control guy, and they had an injury, and they were going to have him practice all week, so they didn't have to sign an extra guy. And like, there was a big deal about signing a contract when he was a coaching, and it got scrapped.
The Niners got popped for something last year. Remember?
Yeah. I'm pro breaking the rules during
No,
this
no,
time.
no. I'm just. Do you remember what they got? It was like DB physicality or something. Remember, there was like some drills they were doing. They weren't allowed to be.
Yeah, I think
hands or something.
Yeah, press maybe.
Yeah, but I think it was. It was like no press coverage, and somebody posted the video.
Remember, John Harbaugh made him wear pads in practice like a couple years ago.
How you getting away with
John,
that?
What are you doing?
I can understand like press coverage. No one's going to find out. But what happens with the Niners is once every camp, somebody posts some practice video that they're not supposed to. It happens every year.
What's happening? It's been happening with all these rookies. You can't see what I'm doing, my guys. This is me in the league.
It's like, check out this end around double pass I just threw for a touchdown. And the coach is like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like 3 bags. Like a lot of guys post like their drills in bags. Like, guys, you just came from Iowa. We know you just got drafted. All your buddies know, and all the chicks know. Okay, you don't. This is not impressing the chicks.
You know what I would do if I were teams?
I think a lot of the posting is about impressing the chicks. I'm in the league now.
I would tell players, look, we're going to hire an extra photographer or our video guys. We're going to get video all of you. Like we're going to just do some drills. It's just going to be for the video. All right. These will be videos for the gram. Just do not post any practice videos, please. We will approve your videos. We'll give you the videos and then you can post them. But you want to the practice video is cooler.
I know it is.
Because it just kind of looks good.
There are going to be a lot of practice videos going viral the next couple of weeks all over the league.
Are you guys excited?
Not all of them are going to be good.
No. Well, I mean, I guess you can't trust the teams because then you end up with Tua throwing a Tyreek. So even they make mistakes. Are you excited for OTAs in person? Yes. Mr. Superfly, sorry to get off topic, but who do y'all think is the best team between the Mavericks, Celtics, and Heat? I think the Celtics are the best team of the group, but they're down 2-1. So what do I know?
Well, it ain't the Mavericks. It ain't Dallas.
Yeah.
It feels like the Celtics have beat the Warriors a lot over the years. That's probably be harder than we think.
I think it'd be tough, but
yeah,
my home court.
Like a cha-ching.
Do you think Trey stopped growing vertically?
Yeah, that's what happens to every human eventually.
Well, I think he's suggesting maybe he's young enough that he could still become 6'6".
Yeah, it feels pretty rare. 22.
Does it ever happen to a draft pick?
Paul George. Remember Paul George left Fresno State 6'7". Now he's like 6'10".
Paul George, yeah.
Paul George.
He was a 2-year player.
3 inches in the league.
And he was a 2-year player. Can you guys answer my super chat? We just did. But thank you.
I wish there was someone you could pay to get extra inches like in your 30s. I'd take
there's a surgery.
There is.
They put like a bone in your shin or like a metal thing in your shin, and then they slowly stretch it out. You could get to probably 6'2" maybe or something. So
feels painful.
Make a note, but yeah, it's like I saw an article about it literally the other day on like Apple. It was a guy like in his walker. It's like a 9-month recovery. Lenore playing the bump. That's what it was. The Amador Lenore playing bump and run and posted the video. Like you said, you're right. It's a rookie, so it's always a rookie.
It was him, yeah. And they were just didn't he just like attack the wide receiver? He like fucking attacked him. So that's how they got in trouble because he posted on. Oh, I remember that now. Yeah.
Corey, when are you guys going to OTAs? As they say in Espanol, mañana.
Be back here in 24 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Around this time, probably expect this around 3:45, 4:15,
3:30.
3:30, somewhere in that range. Yeah. Depends how much hobnobbing Middlekauff wants to do after the press conference.
Good thing on the internet though, it lives. So and it's be the podcast, so it's not going anywhere.
All right, y'all. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for hanging with us today. Thanks for your chats. Thanks for your support. Oh, hey, while we're here, getting the mailbag for the podcast. This is not a podcast that we're doing today. This is just a YouTube only. But getting the mailbag, do that in the description below. Hit this like button. Bam, bam, bam. Subscribe. Go get it.
Just do it.
All right, y'all. Streaming is